On Tuesday the 19th of July, at the commencement of the fifth sitting of the committee, the Honourable Member for Huntingdon declared his interest as follows. I declare an interest as a non-practising solicitor who has never been in receipt of legal aid. Since the committee last met on the 15th of September, matters have come to light which suggest that that declaration was incomplete and a breach of the rules. The relevant section of Erskine May states that a member is required to declare any relevant pecuniary interest or benefit of whatever nature, whether direct or indirect, that he may have had, may have, or may be expected to have. The Committee on Standards of Privileges has made it clear it would regard it as a very serious breach of the rules if a member failed to register or declare an interest which was relevant to a proceeding he had initiated. A series of investigations by the Guardian and Telegraph newspapers has led to some 7 articles to be published in those newspapers between the 16th of September and today, which allege, inter alia, that the Minister has other interests that are directly relevant to this bill and should have been declared. They include his membership of the Djanogly family LLP, which underwrites insurance, his brother-in-law's ownership of 2 leading claims management companies, Going Legal Limited and Legal Link Introductory Services Limited, his children's ownership of shares in his brothers-in-law's claims management companies, his ownership of shares in several companies with insurance interests above the limit for declaration, which is the annual parliamentary salary, and the fact that a quarter of his declarable stock holdings are in companies which are members of the ABI. I've separately raised this issue with the Cabinet Secretary by letters of the 20th of September and the 3rd of October and asked him to investigate possible breaches of the Ministerial Code. However, as this pertains to the Minister's declarations in the Register of Members' Interests and before this committee, I thought it necessary to raise the matter here. Firstly, to give the Minister the opportunity to correct his declaration. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, to ask for your advice on what steps the Minister or I should take to put matters properly on the record and investigate any breach of the rules. For the avoidance of doubt, I note the Minister amended the Register of Members' Interests on the 23rd of September 2011, that was published on the 28th of September, to state his registrable shareholdings and minority shares in the Djanogly family LLP had been transferred to a blind trust on the 26th of October 2010. This late declaration is itself a breach of the rules and was made after his declaration in this committee and the publication of press articles. However, according to documents filed with Companies House as late as the 6th of September 2011, the Minister is still registered as a member of the LLP, and this is inconsistent with that entry. In any event, the Minister has made no attempt to address the further interests to which I have referred, including those of his close relatives. There is a further brief point, Mr. Chairman. The matters which in my submission should have been declared before this committee are significant and reveal a direct or indirect pecuniary interest that the Minister and close members of his family have in companies and trusts which may benefit from the legislation he is promulgating. A report in The Guardian today alleges that the Minister and his civil servants work closely with the insurance industry in building a case to support this legislation from which they and he may benefit. Previous reports in The Guardian and Telegraph allege that close relatives have benefited or will benefit financially from their interests in Going Legal and Legal Link Introductory Services Limited, claims management companies for which the Minister is also the regulator, and which have been strongly criticised in both the SRA and the SDT. It's difficult to see how a reasonable person would not at the very least perceive conflicts of interest. It is the view of the opposition, therefore, the Minister should withdraw from further consideration of this bill, and I'd invite you, Mr. Chairman, or the Minister himself, to indicate if that is now the proper way to proceed.
Well, the point of order is a relatively straightforward issue for the Chair, in that matters pertaining to declarations of interest are not a matter for the Chair, and if the Honourable Member has concerns about any member of this committee with regard to a declaration of interest, then he should refer it to the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards. However, the Minister is in his seat, and if he would like the opportunity to respond, I'm very happy to allow him to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And further to that point of order, I understand from reading the Guardian newspaper that the Honourable Member for Hammersmith has recently made a complaint to the Cabinet Secretary as regards my financial interests, even though they are held in blind trust. Although I have not been given a copy of this complaint, I know that this complaint is being looked into by the MOJ and Cabinet Office, and they will have my full cooperation. In the meantime, I fully stand by my published position that I have at all times made the relevant declarations as an MP and as a Minister.
Thank you. Let the matter will rest for us this morning.
Point of order, Mr.
Point of order.
Thank you. I wonder if I could seek the Chair's advice that throughout the course of both this hearing and the proceeding of this bill, the opposition front bench has never at any stage declared that it received considerable sums of money in the region of £300,000 plus from Thompson's solicitors and other solicitors making their money from the area of personal injury. This has never been declared either by the front bench, and I would ask your guidance on whether it is therefore acceptable for that interest to be introduced now to the committee.
Well, again, it's a very straightforward matter for myself, and that the declaration of interest from anyone who's a member of this committee is not a matter for the chair. And if the honourable member has concerns that he's just elucidated to the committee, he should refer that to the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards.